Ladies and gentlemen, season 3 of the Trivia 10 is here. It's time to announce what this season is going to look like because this is going to be our biggest and best season yet of the Trivia 10. Going to just keep things rolling and explain to you what this season is going to look like. But with that being said, new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Leave a like on this video. Comment down below if you're excited and who you think might end up winning it all, even though you won't know who all the contestants are going to be. But please let me know down below. Give me some comments. Get some hype built for this next season. Because this next season is going to be the biggest season yet, like I mentioned, because we're going to be having 24 different contestants in this season. This breakdown I'm about to go through is a little confusing. Trust me, it took a lot of work to put together. But by the time we get through this, it should all make sense. So just buckle in. Those 24 contestants are going to be broken up into 4 quadrants of 6 contestants. So I've had some people compare this to maybe like a World Cup type format, but broken up into 4 quadrants of 6 individual contestants. The top 4 scores of each quadrant are going to go to a quadrant playoff. Then the winner of that quad championship is going to go to the overall season 3 championship bracket. But beyond those 4 quadrant champions, the highest scoring regular season contestant from each quadrant is also going to make it into a wild card slot into that playoff. So 8 total contestants are going to go to the overall season 3 playoffs. Let's keep breaking it down further. So for quadrant 1, 2, and 3, and 4, we're going to go through each of the quadrants one by one. Top regular season score, 2nd, 3rd, 4th place. The top 4 out of those 6 in that quadrant are going to go to their quadrant playoff. Pretty self-explanatory there. And what that playoff looks like, pretty much exactly what you'd think. You know, the 1 versus the 4 seed, 2 versus the 3 seed until we crown a quadrant 1 champion. So that's how we get the champion from each one. But remember, beyond just the champion, the top regular season score, the 1 seed from the regular season score is also going to find themselves in the season 3 playoff bracket. But ultimately, if that ends up being the same person, we're just going to go to number 2. So the top 2 basically from each quadrant are going to go and be the 8 people represented in the season 3 playoffs. And what those playoffs looks like, as you can see, is laid out here. Quadrant 1 champion going to be going up with quadrant 4 regular season number 1, quad 2 versus quad 3 number 1, quad 3 versus quad 2, yada, yada, yada. So basically no one from the same quadrant could face off potentially until the championship match. But that's how we get there. 4 quadrant champions plus the 4 next highest scoring or the highest scoring in the regular season if they didn't end up winning the championship are going to be making it to this overarching playoffs. I'll explain why I'm doing this format in a second, but that's how we get there. Here's what it's going to be looking like. Remember, top regular season scorer automatically punching their ticket before the quadrant playoffs even start, but then whoever wins that playoff of the top 4 are also going to be going to that championship. How is this going to come to be? How are we going to determine who's winning in the quads and who's going to the quadrant playoffs? Well, there's going to be 2 episodes per contestant on Tuesday and Friday each week. I really want to be cranking out content twice a week for you guys, posting videos on Tuesdays and Fridays, but that's just not realistic for me to schedule with all these different people's schedules to make sure I have me with someone on Tuesday and then me with someone else on Friday. Do that every single week. That basically literally doubles the amount of workload and schedule congestion trying to get this all to work out. So still episodes every Tuesday and Friday, but it's going to be the same contestant on Tuesday and Friday to complete. So there's 2 heats to their individual quadrant regular season. And on Tuesday, what is that going to be? The Trivia 10, like you know and love from the regular season, 10 trivia questions based on their favorite films. Breaking that down a little bit more. It's going to start off with 3 multiple choice questions for 5 points each, 5 standard trivia questions based on their favorite films, you know, general movie trivia like you'd be used to. And then we're going to have 1 Letterboxd graph match where it's going to be 3 movies, 3 Letterboxd graphs, and have to match them up. And then we're going to end with one of everyone's favorites segments in Guess the Cast. So a total of 100 points on the Tuesday episode. So that's just like a whole episode in itself on Tuesday is going to be the same as the regular season you've already seen. So the regular season basically is going to be more intensive, more content than in the past 2 seasons. On Friday, Real Reveal is what the contestant is going to be playing. It's a game everyone loves from season 2 where players select their own clues and guess what movie it is and try and see if they can do it in the least amount of points possible. There's going to be 3 rounds, 150 points possible each round for a total of 450 points for the Friday episode of each contestant. And here's what it's going to look like. So we revamped it a bit. Point values look like they're a lot more, but that's because it's out of 150 points per round as opposed to like 75. So a lot of things are just doubled, but I have tweaked some things. So we have director, lead actor, second build actor, third build actor, release year, writer, cinematographer, genres, your Letterboxd score, Letterboxd average, number of words in the title, the duration, the global box office, and how many Oscar nominations it has, and the last date the contestant watched it. So this is your first look. This is the board that all 24 contestants are going to be playing on the Fridays of their episodes, going through 3 rounds of this to see if they can do it in the least amount of points possible. So from there, the Tuesday episodes, out of those 100 points, these players are going to be ranked from 1 through 6 for their individual quadrant, but the people in 5 and 6 are in yellow, and you'll see why in a second here, but this is a Tuesday alone. How much out of 100 points can you get on those trivia questions? And then on Friday, same thing, but for your Friday score, where are you going to rank in your individual quadrant, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6? But ultimately what determines if you're going to be going to the actual playoffs is your average ranking. So if you got, second place in the trivia on Tuesday and you got fourth place on the real reveal on Friday, your average ranking there would be third place overall, which would put you into the playoffs. So that means if you really falter on your trivia skills on Tuesday, but you're really good at real reveal, hopefully you can make up enough points to get there in the playoffs. And conversely, if you're not good at knowing cinematographers, writers, or anything like that and can't do the real reveal, well, use your normal trivia knowledge to see if that can bolster your ranking to get in the top 4 here. And yes, the overall quad leaderboard is going to be based on their average ranking. Like I said, if there's a tiebreaker between the rankings, we're going to go based on the Tuesday score, whoever scored higher in that, simply because if I feel like that's just like the more movie trivia knowledge, ball knowledge. So I feel like that makes sense to be the tiebreaker between the two. So now let's get into what the schedule is going to look like, because I said this is the biggest season ever, and trust me, you're about to see why. So Quadrant 1, the regular season, is going to be kicking off next week, starting on Tuesday. We have our first contestant. August 20th is when it's going to be kicking off. And the regular season, the 6 contestants, 1 per week, because they're going to have a Tuesday and Friday episode. So it's going to go the 20th of August to the 27th of September. And then the playoffs, we're going to jump right into those for the Quadrant 1 playoffs from October 1st to October 8th. Then we dive into Quadrant 2. 15th through November 22nd is going to be their regular season. Playoffs are going to be November 26th to December 3rd. Then we go right into Quad 3, December 10th to January 17th, and then their playoffs are going to be January 21st to January 28th. Quadrant 4 regular season, February 4th to March 14th. Playoffs for Quadrant 4 are going to be March 18th to March 25th. And the Season 3 playoffs of all the 8 contestants that beat the best in their quadrant are going to go April 1st to April 22nd in an Elite 8 format, down to Final 4, down to a championship to crown the Season 3 winner. We're going to have a fun little prize. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but if you can do the calendar math, April 22nd is quite a ways away. It's not going to be anything like a crazy cash prize or anything, but I think, a fun t-shirt, maybe a victory belt, trophy, something like that will be in order for the champion of Season 3. Since if it's going to be the biggest, best season ever, got to get them some prize. So why am I doing this format? What's changed based on feedback I've gotten from Season 1 to Season 2? Because I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm adapting, trying to make the best movie trivia content in the world. So number one piece of feedback I got is that knowing the ratings of movies like Riding the Bus or Box Office isn't really movie trivia. It's fun, but it's mostly like chance and flipping a coin, and that's just not really knowing trivia. So as a result, every contestant on those Tuesday episodes are going to be going through 8 standard trivia questions, and you have 1 graph match just for a little fun. But I think you can reason the Letterboxd graph more than like Box Office, Riding the Bus. I think there's actually strategy to it, and then guess the cast. But 8 standard trivia questions. The real reveal, I think, is like the ultimate ball knower of how much film ball knowledge do you know. But basically what I'm doing here is I'm trying to minimize stuff like, Ride the Bus, even though it's a lot of fun and contestants have fun with it and it's stressful. It's more just like kind of a coin flip and luck at the end of the day. We want to eliminate luck. We want this to be more like typical movie trivia. So really the people who know their movies, know their stuff are going to be the ones advancing and getting the high scores. Second bit of feedback, some people really like the individual trivias because, like I said in the first bit of feedback, people like when it's like actual movie trivia, like meat and bones movie trivia, as opposed to like games of chance or guess the poster, which those are fun in their own respect, and people like those as well. But people want a better blend because, some of those games head to head can be far more chance as opposed to skill. So as a result, that's why I'm doing the movie in this quadrant, or the season in this quadrant format, because we're growing the season in scale. We're making this bigger. But what that means is if we had 24 contestants all within a week and going back to back, 24 divided by 4, that's like 6 months of no head-to-heads. And that's no fun for the people who like head-to-heads. I like the head-to-heads. I like the individual stuff too. So I think this is just like a great blend between the two, where you're going to be able to, we're going to get 6 weeks of the individual contestants going off of their decks. Then we're going to get them going to the playoffs head-to-head to determine the winner. Go back to individual trivia. We got some more head-to-heads. Back to individual for Quad 3, head-to-heads. Back to individual for Quad 4, head-to-heads there. And then we ultimately end with the overarching head-to-heads of Season 3. So I think it's going to be the perfect balance for people who like the individual trivias and like to test their own movie trivia knowledge and skills and see how individual contestants tackle it, while also being able to satisfy people who like the head-to-heads. So it's really just giving a perfect blend of each, while also giving a real reveal each and every Friday, which is everyone's favorite game, at least so far. So if this format is confusing, I really don't blame you. It's a lot to take in, and I'll tell you right now, I've filmed 3 episodes already. So 3 episodes already in the tank before I even recorded this, and like vocalize my thoughts and really put this format together, the slides of how the season is going to work. So in episodes 1, 2, and 3 of this quadrant, if it sounds a little messy during like the episodes where I'm like trying to explain how the scoring works and how the rankings work and who goes to playoffs, just know once episode 4 hits, that'll be after this has been filmed. So things are going to be a lot clearer in terms of my being able to vocalize what's going to be happening each season. But again, this is confusing. I really don't blame you. A lot to take in. Just please, if you're not on board, just put your trust in me. I think the Trivia 10 season 1 and season 2 have been stellar, awesome, phenomenal, but just trust me to put together a great season 3 that you're going to have a lot of fun with. And like I said, regular season format right now is set in stone because we don't want to change it for the later quadrants. That wouldn't be fair. So, the 10 trivia questions on Tuesday, the 3 reel reveals on Friday, that's going to be set in stone and the same point values for everything for all 4 quadrants. But the quad playoffs and the overall season 3 playoffs are still up in the air. And kind of like I was talking about the feedback, some people like some games, some people don't like the other games. And obviously the head-to-head is going to be mostly game-based. So give me some feedback down below in the comments. What type of games do you want to see? What type of format do you want to see for the playoff head-to-heads? Because that's still up in the air and I'm still trying to solidify that. Like I said, the first 3 episodes have been recorded already. If you want to compete, I know a lot of people have DM'd me. Unfortunately, I can't get you all on these episodes. And I kind of have like a set group of people that are going to be competing in season 3. But if you want to compete, I do have something really exciting coming soon for you all to stay tuned for, so everyone can get on the Trivia 10 action. I wish I could announce it now. I was hoping it'd be ready by now, but I only have so much time, but it should be ready here in a couple weeks soon. And I'll post a totally separate video on a random day, like a Wednesday or something. I'm just going to drop a video announcing what that's going to be, but something super exciting for everyone to compete in the Trivia 10 fun is coming soon. But that's really the wrap up of the whole season. We got a lot here to go through. Hopefully it's somewhat clear for you. We'll kind of recap just like ultimately the playoffs here. We're going to get 6 people competing. So just think of it as a 6-person regular season that's going to go to this 4-person playoff to determine champion. And then from there, we're going to get all 4 of those champions plus the 4 next highest scoring into an overall playoff for the season. And what that kind of gets us here is this schedule that really is just a great blend of, have a couple weeks of regular season, then we have a week of playoffs, a couple weeks of regular season, week of playoffs. And I just think there's going to be a great balance going forward so we can have all kinds of fun with individual head-to-heads while also making a schedule that's feasible for me, because this is a lot of effort for me, a lot of coordinating schedules with other people. So in order to do that and make sure it's something that we can keep doing for the foreseeable future, which I want to do, this season alone is going to be like a whole sport regular season. We're going all the way to April 22nd, but I never want to stop doing Trivia 10, and making it the easiest for me to film will be the easiest way to keep this going forever. With that being said, that's the season 3 kicking off next week. First contestant is Doug Holler, the champion of season 1, tackling the Trivia 10 season 3 with both his Tuesday episode and his Friday episode. So we're going to just get right rolling into Quadrant 1, those 6 contestants, and see who's going to win that season, who's going to be the runner-up and make it to the overall playoffs. But we got 24 contestants to go through. Should be a fun time. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a like on this video. Comment down below if this was confusing or if it made sense. Anything you want to see in the playoffs, head-to-heads. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting the Trivia 10 throughout the past 2 seasons. And together, we're going to make season 3 the biggest and best season yet.